How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, but before we get started, I want to let you guys know I just released a free cheat sheet that'll help you trade options like a pro. It's the 5 strategies that I use. We also do it inside of the Discord. You can find that link down inside the description and as well as in the first comment as well. So for Lucid today, it ended up being up 2.57%. They also did have a catalyst in regards to being added in the Russell 3000. So I want to make sure you guys are prepared going into tomorrow. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $19.15, being up 2.57%. On the low, it tested $18.79, and then on the high, testing $19.98. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 15.859 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 18.496 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we still saw some strength in the stock. And now when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below it's at 50.76. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day. We're also below the 50-day, but you can see that we closed just above the 21-day EMA, and this is what you want to see because what we see so far, it is consolidating and showing some strength. We ended up seeing a high of the day at $19.98. We already know that $20 is a psychological area for Lucid. So the moment we get some price action above that, we have a lot of sellers that tend to come in. As far as for the low of the day, it was at $18.79. And if you remember in my previous video, I was saying that it's crucial for Lucid to hold up above the 21-day EMA. So even though where it tested support was below the 21-day EMA, things are still continuing to look good for this play. Now, as far as going into tomorrow, if we decide to break through the 21-day EMA, that's where we can get a possible test as far as for $18. So it could be on Tuesday or it could be on Wednesday. So that's one thing you want to make sure you keep an eye on. And if we break through $18, that's where we want to see how Lucid holds up right here around $17.50. As far as for the upside is concerned, like I've been saying previously, Lucid just needs to gain some momentum above $20 and try to use this 50-day moving average as an area of support so we can get ready for that next move up. And what you want to see is at least around $22.50. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for this second, we have Verichin Fund Management LLC that went in with puts, and the value of those shares is at $44,800. And we also do see here as well, they have another position of 25,985 shares with a value change of 2.17%. And as far as for the others, we have already covered. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 62.32%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 250,000, updated 22 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 11.29%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the second, it was at 53.25. And then for the close of the third being at 62.32. So right away, taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 24.25%, Lucid does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow it's at 49.47 million, and then on the outflow it's at 54.83 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 1.14 million, on the medium it was 28.63 million, and then on the small it was 19.70 million. On the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 4.63 million, on the medium it was 31.56 million, and then on the small it was 18.64 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for June the 6th, which is today, we had that outflow of 3.49 million, and also on the 3rd we had an outflow of 1.68 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you could see that we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 0.95%. So this is not too bad for Lucid whatsoever. We're also used to it being in the 1% range. So the fact that it's lower than that, and plus we have retail that bought in today, it definitely does look good for the stock overall. So now let's move on to the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, so we ended up seeing a high at $19.98. And one thing we know for a fact, $20 is a psychological area for Lucid. It doesn't spend a lot of time in that particular range because there is a good amount of sellers. So knowing that we saw $19.98 as far as for the high going into tomorrow, if we see some strength, we want to see momentum above this level. This is very crucial here. As far as for the low of the day, we tested at $18.79. If you remember what I said in my previous video, as long as we can have strength above the 21-day EMA, things should be looking good for this stock. Yes, we did get below the 21-day EMA by 2 cents, but again, if we just want to consolidate, that is perfectly fine because it could still get the stock ready for the next move up. And as far as for the next move up as a bull, what you want to look for, not only do you want Lucid to get above $20, you want that level of $22.50 to be reached. If it could reach $22.50, that's where I could say, you know what, Lucid is looking really good in a technical sense. But with the volatility we have going on inside of these markets, that can be a difficult feat, and I want to just make sure that is something that you know about. If we decide to have a pullback now and break through that 21-day EMA, of course we want to see continued strength at $17.50, being able to hold this level in regard to support. If it's unable to do that, that's where Lucid can pull back and it can start testing in the $15 range. Again, add that to your homework. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see institutions loading up on shares, a good amount of hedging. And then taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. And we can see that the short volume has increased quite a bit. No surprises there with the volatility that we have inside of these markets. And also taking into consideration the catalyst, being added into the Russell 3000 is going to force a lot of institutions to buy up shares of Lucid. So this is part of the reasons why you want to keep this play on close watch. So if you are a trader, you want to make sure you have a game plan to play this thing to the upside and as well as for the downside, and pay attention to the overall market conditions as well. We had a strong gap up in the morning for the market, and as far as for today was concerned, that's when we started selling off, but we were still able to finish green. But I would keep a very close eye on that, especially since we do have CPI data that's going to be coming out on Friday. We also have the quad witching for next week, and we have the Fed meeting. Again, there's a lot to look forward to, and that's why I put these videos together to make sure you guys are prepared. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today, and don't forget to check out the free cheat sheet to take your option game to the next level. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.